We're here today to talk to you about building content with some of these LOAI toolkits that we've created. More specifically, Ethan has spent a lot of time on this, just perfecting these, and we're going to continue to enhance them. But the whole idea is to give you some ideas of content you can create to get out there and get more consumers in your ecosystem and drawn further into your version of FinLocker. So with that, we're just going to break down into some of the statistics we pulled from various areas. But really what this slide is talking about is just the next gen population. And what we mean by next gen is the millennials and Gen Zs. And because that's making up a big part of this pent up purchase market. And so what we're seeing is decreased Google search queries. So the typical way that we're all used to when you're trying to go find something, you Google something, right? You put what is this? Or I'm looking for this. And what has changed the game recently is a couple of different things. Now, when you go into Google and you type something in, a question or anything, most of you probably seen at the top of the Google search is this AI overview. And so what that is doing is the same thing as or basically the same thing as a lot of these AI engines are doing. And it's summarizing a lot of the data that it's capturing. And so what you're seeing is on that far right side where it says Google AI overviews, reduce clicks 58%. That means people aren't clicking down into various websites to see different things. So drilling down further in and taking the time to look at that, they're getting their information from these AI overviews, which in some cases is stripping out some of that personalization, or maybe you spend a lot of time on SEO getting yourself to the top of a particular search criteria. The good news is it's pulling various content and it can bubble you up without having to spend a lot of dollars on SEO. We're also seeing increased usage in just the AI apps themselves. So the point of this is just consumers are gradually and more frequently shifting to this AI search aspect, whether it's the AI tools like a ChatGPT or using Google, the AI function just natively built into that. So what does this mean for you? If you're just going the old school way, it's going to be reduced website traffic. And we're going to show you what different content you can come up with that's going to help build your persona base and your market presence within this new world of AI. Moving on to the next slide, we're talking about just where next-gen home buyers are going for their information. So the good news is things haven't changed. You know, we've been preaching getting on social media for the last couple of years. That is still a very strong case for two reasons. One, stats are showing people are still going there to get their information. And two, that these social media platforms are actually feeding the AI content, the AI engines that are pulling information. So if you start focusing and you continue to focus on that, you can continue to build your social media presence, your following on there, but you also start showing up in the various AI platforms when someone asks, like, who is a good local lender in my area? Those are areas where now the AI can start answering those questions because of the information that we're going to teach you and show you how to put on to these various platforms. So the next thing is, where are people going with, or where's AI pulling from for this? And I want to just caveat, the thing on the right, you see YouTube at the highest. This does not mean that you should ditch everything that you're doing on Instagram or TikTok if you're doing good there and do YouTube because it's the highest. These are all meaningful. This is just pulling up just where the AIs are pulling from today. But so for example, if some of you are on Instagram, you're doing very good on there and you're posting on Facebook, that doesn't mean ditch Instagram. It means keep doing what you're doing there. And then you can pull pieces of that and put some things on YouTube and build it in parallel. But I would highly advise, if you're comfortable on a platform and you're seeing progress, you're seeing good things there, don't ditch it. Keep on that. Instagram and TikTok and Facebook are all great platforms to be on, especially as it means meeting the consumer where they're at. And then, so what to post to get recommended? So video, we've been talking about video. Obviously, that's a great place on all the platforms I just mentioned. You can do various things. You can do these short form videos. You can create a longer seminar and clip different pieces of it. And so you have a longer video on YouTube and you put your short videos on the other platforms like a TikTok or an Instagram. One other just quick tip that's not posted on here is, as you're building up your base in some of these social platforms, email your database with those. So maybe you're talking about, a new first-time homebuyer program. It's, definitely put it on your social media, but then you have a database. Let's start building your following by hitting them with an email saying, "Hey, come check out my video," and then they can come see it and follow you there. So it's just another kind of cheat sheet way of helping building your following faster. And then if you guys don't have a business profile, I know most of you probably do, but if you don't have a Google business profile, create one. Get reviews posted there. Every time you have a happy client, have them post a review there. Those all feed all of these algorithms that we're talking about. And then another way to get your name more known out there is start engaging in some of these where there's these communities, these that homebuyer groups, for example, like Reddit and Facebook. They're flooded with different homebuyer groups, first-time homebuyer groups, repeat buyers, different things. You can get in there and be an expert and comment on there, and the systems will recognize you and boil those to the top. And then always just your referral networks. You guys already know how to do that good today, but referral networks are definitely key on here. So as you're thinking about some of these social posts, maybe you partner up with a financial advisor, an agent to do a social post or to do a longer form YouTube video. So with all that was just setting the stage. I'm going to hand this over to Ethan because he's going to show you actually the nuts and bolts of how to create some of this stuff.
Thank you, Chris. Let me get our AI toolkit pulled up. And so like Chris mentioned, he just gave the high level overview. Now I will get into the weeds and show you how to create some actionable content for each of these different channels. So starting with social media, since that's our first social GPT, we'll jump in there, but let me just give you a rundown of the AI toolkit first. So I think everyone on here is a FinLocker customer. So all these top GPTs here you're seeing are very relevant, but if anyone's watching the playback and you're not a FinLocker customer, definitely check out our Key Steps app and see if that might be a good fit. These are designed to help get folks into your FinLocker app, help create content that's going to get folks into your FinLocker app, and then things like co-branding. This one can do all things co-branding. So from setting up your agents in the portal to sending a follow-up. Hey, did you get your invite link? Do you know what to do with that? So that one can just really help you, be your assistant when working with these agents, give you some tips and tricks that you can pass along to your agent partners, and most of all, just help you educate them on the value of the app, how it's going to help them scale their business, reach more of these not ready home buyers, and convert them over time. So top section, FinLocker specific GPTs. The rest, these are just general custom GPTs that we've sourced from either chat GPTs, like Explore page or ones that I found on social media. So basically just curated ones we thought would be relevant for loan officers. These ones go over guidelines. And for each section, there's some canned prompts. So this one, I'm a first-time home buyer whose parents want to co-sign but won't live in the property. Walk me through the Fannie Mae guidelines for non-occupant co-borrowers, yada, yada. So it's got, these are the types of things that you can ask in these GPTs versus if you're looking at more of this Wolfram, this is going to get into more of the math and the breakdown of amortization tables and all that fun stuff. So again, probably a lot of the stuff you're already doing, but a tool that can help automate and scale that. Content and social. So some of these can be used in conjunction with like our FinLocker section. And then for LOs who maybe aren't using FinLocker, some of these post generators can help. And then SEO assist. This is one where I think, anyone can use this, whether you're a FinLocker customer or not. Running some of your pages, blogs, website through the SEO assist can be, just give you some quick wins to start showing up more when people are searching for things in your city or for a certain loan program that maybe you offer. Design and branding, so more on the image side. These will help you create graphics, more for logo on the right side. Canva, so this one is actually created by Canva and has like a lot of their elements in mind when helping design. Bernie, you got your hand up?
Yeah, for the SEO, how do we do, is that gonna be like hashtags or how do we apply that?
I'm just going to go to finlocker.com and I'm going to go and grab one of like our blog posts. We'll go into the Business Building Center. And so, I'm doing this from the FinLocker perspective. If you're doing this, as your business, you, the loan officer, you would grab either a page from your website, like a landing page, or maybe a blog post and load it into this tool. So I'm just grabbing this link. We go back to my SEO assist here. Once that GPT loads. All right, so here's like some of the starting options. How can I improve my website's SEO? You analyze my SEO performance. I'm just going to say, so for this one, I'm just having to analyze the SEO for this page. After that analysis, if it doesn't give me recommendations, I can go back and ask for some recommendations there. So it's giving me a detailed breakdown of really that evaluation and how I'm utilizing the different functionality of the web page to maximize SEO. So primary intent, looking at these target users, target interests, keyword targets, and we're getting down to issues. So the page doesn't clearly target a primary keyword. Signals are diluted across multiple themes. So big takeaway from that, just make the focus very clear. Focus on one primary keyword. And so now we've got that. So it's just going to really help you optimize how you're setting up a page. There's all these, little settings that aren't really visible to the consumer. So it's making sure, you're putting information in there, and then that it's information that's going to get you to show up and really just maximize the potential and the reach of the content. And we've got a couple other sections. So slide making. I know there's some other tools out there as well. So right now, this is all just it's custom GPTs through ChatGPT. I know in the roadmap for this AI toolkit, we do want to add links out to other tools. So like I'm blanking on the name, but there's a really good slide creation tool that I've tested out. There's tools like Claude that are really good for more of the vibe coding type actions or outputs. And so that can be like another follow-up session. But on one of our office hours calls, I showed the group how to use Claude Code to create a standalone web page that can be used to attract home buyers in a specific city. So this is more of a template, but it's a live page that was created by Claude Code with just a few prompts and maybe 10-15 minutes. So it's market specific. So a lot of the content will change based on what city you enter, but all the call to actions are going to lead to your Key Steps app, FinLocker app, however, whatever app you're branded in, you would set this up so that your FinLocker invite is the call to action throughout. Other tools, then there's more of the automations and spreadsheets. So helping create different formulas for a spreadsheet. You can kind of send it the headers you have and what you're trying to accomplish, and it'll give you the best formula and where to paste that formula. And then Zapier integrating different systems. So I know a lot of people use Zapier to connect different things to their CRM. So, good place to explore. Is this possible? Could I connect my teams to my CRM or whatever it might be? We'll go into the FinLocker GPTs though, because this is really what we're here for. And so starting with the social, I've already got some prompts here. So pasting in my prompt, and I'm just asking, create 3 social media posts for a mortgage loan officer focused on educating early stage home buyers. Themes should include buyer trust, myth busting about down payments, why buyers should connect with a lender early. Educational tone, trust building, conversational for LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So now we've got our first post, one for LinkedIn. I won't read through all of it, but it's giving some stats on, these are all coming from the Next Gen Homebuyer Report by Kristen Messerly. And so just taking stats from that and building content around it, building, content with that emotional feel. So leaning in at the start, 19% or less than 20% of next gen homebuyers say they trust loan officers, and then explaining why, and leaning into that, educate early, no pressure, no sale, just here's a tool that'll help you. When you're ready, if you want to work with me, I'll absolutely work with you. And you'll see me in the app where you can easily get connected. Going to our next post, and you'll see throughout, like I'm in my social GPT, but it's prompting me to go to this image creator. So that's that other custom GPT that we've created. And so it's there to help you pair images with these social posts. So I'm just going to grab this one, open our image generator. I'm just going to tell it to create me an image to go with this post. And this one will take about 30 seconds. So I'm going to come back to that after we scroll through some more of our output here. And so now we're looking at our Facebook posts, myth busting down payment, leaning into that. You don't need 20% down. And in the Next Gen Homebuyer Report, you'll see it is not overdone saying you don't need 20% down. A lot of consumers still think that you do. I think a lot of us in the industry probably get tired of saying it and hearing it, but it's something the consumers still do need to hear. A lot of them are under that impression that, hey, maybe you don't have to put 20% down, but it's the right thing to do. That's the most financially responsible thing to do. But in all cases, it might not be. So those are the captions for our recommended posts. Each one also comes with like a prompt for the image set that you can create as well. So let's check back on our image here. 45% of buyers now connect with a lender early. Thinking about buying someday, check your homeownership readiness. Start shopping with confidence. So not the most elaborate graphic or mind-blowing graphic, but it's a starting point, and it was created with very little effort. Really the social posts and images, you can pull it all together in about 20 minutes, and you can get a week's worth of content out of it. And then what I always recommend, spend 20 minutes generating the content, spend another 30 reading through it, putting your personal touch on it, and really, I mean, it's probably already going to sound like you. This is all in ChatGPT, so it's going to align with the way you create output today, and the tone, the voice that it's using for your content. So it'll apply all of that to whatever prompt or whatever question you're asking it in here. And the cool thing is, you've got, okay, I've got 3 posts here. I'm asking it, give me additional ways I can use the same content. For example, Instagram or Facebook stories. So just repurposing, the same information or positioning it in a different way. So using it, doing a poll. Are you thinking about buying a home someday? Yes, no, maybe someday. And then, you'll have a list on your back end, your Instagram profile that says, here's the people, my followers that are, yes, definitely going to buy a home someday. No plans. Maybe I need to figure it out. And so, you're getting a level of data on them at that point where you can follow up, and this will probably have some automated follow-ups for you as well. And if it doesn't, you can ask it for them. So I'm asking it to just create a follow-up template for the people who comment or respond to a poll. So there's your different templates based on how they answer, how they respond to it. All of them, leaning into download this app, do a 3-minute readiness check, and that's going to give you a good idea of what needs to be done. What are you looking good? Is your credit all right? Do you have money saved for down payment? No? Okay, here's a feature in the app where you can track that savings and really get a better idea of when that time will be. And so it's got all the different lanes they can go down. Someone sends a DM, someone says they aren't ready, someone reacts but doesn't post a comment. So lots of optionality there. This next one, use our AI video prompt coach for this, and this one was inspired by Kimmy's suggestion. So thank you, Kimmy, for this one. And it's talking about more of the non-traditional, home buyers. So someone who may have a unique income or a credit challenge, maybe they're looking at down payment assistance programs, additional like just common barriers. And so this tool it can be used two ways. One, it can be used to create prompts to be used in video creation tools like Sora or Veed, where it's an AI tool that will create you a video output. So you can use it in that way where you tell it kind of what you're looking for. It'll give you a prompt that you paste into Sora, and then you get your 10, 15-second video output. You can also use it where it just kind of outlines the video setup for you. So it creates a script, it creates different scenes, and whether it'll just be you kind of recording and talking in front of the camera, or if there's going to be some B-roll clips that need to be added. And so we're looking at a 30, 40-second real TikTok script. Think you can't buy a home because your credit's not perfect, income is hard to document, or you have a huge down payment. That might not be the end of the story. And then talking through really different home buying scenarios. So this is really outlining a home buying scenario. Talk to buyers all the time who assume they're automatically disqualified. Maybe they're self-employed, have commission income, had a past credit issue, or need down payment assistance. Truth is, a lot of buyers don't need a perfect file. They need the right strategy. There's often a path to yes, even if it doesn't look traditional. Before you count yourself out, check out my homeownership readiness tool. It'll help you see where you stand, what steps can move you closer to buying. DM ready, and I'll send it over. So that could just be a quick 20-second video you're using the selfie camera on and just speaking to your audience. Maybe even think of a real scenario where your most difficult loan scenario that you've gotten someone across the finish line, and pull a piece of that and use it to really lean into the emotional aspect and make people see that just because it seems like the cards are stacked against you, there's a way forward. There's so many different loan programs and options out there where it's not just a one size fits all.
That's really good. I would absolutely say that word for word.
I love it. We've got after this call, you'll see on the LinkedIn post, we've got a Word doc that has all these outputs included in it. So all of you will have access to that after the call. I did all these before the call as well. So I also did one where instead of like a short Instagram or TikTok video, we're asking for a much longer and more detailed YouTube video. So it might take a few minutes to generate. But I do have this I can show you. So these are all the copy and content generated earlier. It's like this one's our YouTube. So we've got a core message. Not every buyer fits into the perfect borrower box. So our version 2 for YouTube, the more detailed version, gives you some title options, opening hook, and an estimate for about how much time you should spend on this, why people think they can't buy, the path to yes framework, real buyer scenarios. So instead of just pulling out a line or two from maybe your most difficult, you can find 3 very different scenarios where you help someone get across the hump. How to know if you're ready to buy. So introducing the Key Steps app, the readiness assessment, and then closing message. Call to action, always, point to the app, check your readiness, especially for more of these non-traditional home buying scenarios where, you know, they're not going in that perfect buyer bucket. One more thing to show, maybe two if there's time. But Chris mentioned this earlier about, you know, still emailing your database, making sure they're aware of these different, you know, if you're posting video content on social, on YouTube, making sure they're seeing that, they're aware that you're active on these channels and that they can get, you know, education there. This one will be more app focused, but so I'm asking, write a 3 email nurture series for early stage home buyers considering purchasing a home. Each email should be short, supportive, focus on education, and encouraging the reader to check their homeownership readiness using the Mortgage Prep app. And cool thing about this is we've got it trained to, like, it knows some best practices from a lot of the top CRMs in the industry. So go high level. If it creates you some emails here, it can help you build all that out in a system like Go High Level or HubSpot or wherever you might be, you know, with your CRM. So we've got a 3-day series here. Buying a home can feel like a lot at the beginning. A simple first step is checking where you stand before you get too far ahead. This mortgage preparation app gives you a quick homeownership readiness view, along with tools to help you understand your credit, set a savings target, and build a plan that fits your budget. You do not need to have everything figured out today. You just need a clear place to start. Start here. And so these are all just quick, easy, educational emails that, you know, the big goal here is we're not trying to sound too salesy, not trying to get lost in the spam filters. So avoiding a lot of the keywords that would do that. I'm saying, help me build this in my Go High Level CRM. I want it to automatically send to any new leads. So now I should get a step-by-step on how to build the emails, how to build them into a journey or a series. And then even set like that trigger that gets them started on it, which would be a new lead added to your CRM. And I'm sure someday it'll be even easier than this, where you could just push a button and it'll send that all over to your CRM pre-built. You can kind of see all the considerations it's working through before actually starting on our output. I found the exact high-level trigger you need. Cleanest setup is a workflow using contact created, then send 3 email actions with wait steps between them. So now it's just finishing that build out. And then here's the rest of that output on how I would build out this series and Go High Level. It's giving me very, very descriptive instructions here. So that's my favorite part about this, is that not everyone's gonna use it the same way. You know, you'll get a social post and you can say, well, I've also got a YouTube channel. How can I utilize the same content there? How could I, you know, make a quick 30-second YouTube short off of this topic? So really the options are endless as far as, you know, how you can utilize the content, all the different channels that you can repurpose it, especially with the image generator. Once you get an image to a point, a lot of the platforms are really using the same dimensions. So you can upload that same image maybe a week or 2 later to your LinkedIn, and Instagram another 2 weeks later. Yeah, most of the time it'll always give like a couple of next step options. Like, here's what else you could do. Have you thought about doing this? So always pay attention to that, because it's got some cool suggestions, some things that I wouldn't normally think about that are, you know, I've tried them, like creating a contact for your FinLocker invite link. Who the heck would think of that? ChatGPT would. And I think that was, you know, a really cool way to store and easily send a FinLocker invite link for a loan officer. I think we were only scheduled here for 30 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone, for being on today. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.